Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of The Beekeeper. This movie is directed by David Ayer, who previously directed End of Watch, Suicide Squad, and Fury. This movie stars Jason Statham, Emmy Lampman with Josh Hutcherson, and Jeremy Irons. The plot of this movie is Jason Statham plays a man named Mr. Clay, who is a beekeeper. He extracts the honey, he cares for the bees, he keeps them. He's a beekeeper. And when a woman that's close to him is taken advantage of financially, he stops what he's doing and he exacts his revenge on not only the people responsible, but also the entire system, revealing that he was part of a secret operative group called, ironically, the Beekeepers. Now, if you've seen a Jason Statham movie, then you know that this movie plays out much like a lot of his other movies, where if it's just about Jason Statham and he's not really part of a group at all, like Expendables, he's a one-man wrecking team. He doesn't just take on one guy or two guys. He takes on groups of people at a time, but also he doesn't just go for, the lowly henchman. He goes tier by tier, taking down the entire thing. Kind of like John Wick, but Statham did it first. Now, Jason Statham in this movie is exactly what you'd expect. He's like the modern day Clint Eastwood, where he likes to play this character that really has no friends, family. He's a loner that kind of enters himself into a situation that he's either a part of that he decides is wrong, or a situation where he feels people needs his assistance, and he helps out by killing lots of people. Now, even though Jason Statham has a couple lines, it's really only just to express his mission statement, but also be kind of a smartass, because he knows he's really good at what he does, and he really doesn't have to answer too many questions, or really answer to anyone, or say anything. So if he's not just, being a smart aleck, he's just telling people that his whole mission is to take down the corruption, take down the corporate system, and take down those who prey on the weak. That's essentially his lines of dialogue in this film, because aside from other characters explaining who he is, or who they think he is, or where he comes from, there's not a whole lot to Jason Statham. But then again, you're not watching a Jason Statham movie for a whole lot of exposition. But this movie does a little too much of it. So, the co-stars in this film are Josh Hutcherson, who most notably was from The Hunger Games, but he was also in Five Nights at Freddy's. Here he plays the bad guy, and I've always thought he's played a better bad guy than a good guy. And I wouldn't even say he's the bad guy. He is the son of somebody very important who is put in charge of this company that is like a data mining, which are like people that try to get money from people through, not the best kind of ways. And his overseer, his handler, if you will, is played by Jeremy Irons, who used to work for the CIA. He's an older guy who, in case this kid gets into any trouble, Jeremy Irons is there to take care of things. Whether it's through money, or whether it's sending a bunch of guys to take care of the problem, whatever. He's like the babysitter. And then you have Emmy Lampman, who plays one of the detectives in charge of, following after Jason Statham. Because you always have that movie where you have a vigilante or some hero going on his own mission, his own path. And then you have some cops that are somewhere behind him. Well, the character that Emmy Lampman plays is one of the detectives. And her mom is the woman that Mr. Clay was close to. So she kind of has stake in this case. But this movie does the same thing that a lot of movies do, where the main character will discover something, or he'll be there first before anyone. He'll take care of business. He'll kill dudes. He'll uncover stuff. And then later, then the cops will do it. And then they explain it again, what they've discovered. So it's like everything Statham does, the cops later arrive on the scene and put the clues together, and then they make, their own case. Anyways, this movie goes from Jason Statham exacting revenge for this lady he cared for, into him becoming like this white knight, this savior that's like the ultimate good versus the ultimate evil. And it becomes a little silly. He plays this guy that's part of this secret organization, and you think he's a good guy, like he's not supposed to hurt anyone or really kill anyone unless they deserve it, yet He's wrecking FBI guys. He's breaking people's arms and throwing them downstairs. He hurts a lot of people. Now, the action in this movie is okay. A lot of it's like just him 1-2 punching people, breaking a limb here or there, setting these traps for individuals. It really doesn't get intense or graphic until the third act of the movie, when he has a really brutal knife fight scene with a guy that I'll just call the wild card mercenary. There's a couple different people that go after him in this movie, but the wild card guy at the end who has an accent, grill, tattoos, like he's a mercenary for hire type character, that's when you're like, wow, this fighting is intense. There's a really cool line where he's fighting this dude in the hallway and the guy's like, "You're just a man." And Statham's like, "I know." That's pretty cool. But the dialogue in this movie, David Ayer likes to do this thing where he has a style about him. That whether he's the screenplay writer or he's the director, a lot of his movies take place in like Southern California. He likes to blend, ethnicities and cultures from like Caucasians to like Hispanics. And his dialogue is never great. Except for maybe Fury and Training Day and just a few others. His dialogue's not good. He'd rather just have a bunch of violence and a bunch of characters just say the dumbest stuff or just curse a whole lot. And to him, boom, that's dialogue. And a lot of this movie is just cheesy. It's like when he's writing, him and Kurt Wimmer, who also has worked on a whole bunch of movies that just bad dialogue. It's like David Ayer's like, you know what? This sounds really cool, so it's going to be my movie dialogue. It's not how people talk in real life, but it sounds pretty cool, so we're going to put that in there. Also, this movie, yes, it does have a whole lot of B puns. It's almost like Jerry Seinfeld should have been in this movie, because there's a whole lot of B references. There's a lot of interesting dialogue about how bees have attributed to, the start of civilization and how important they are to us in nature. But then it gets a little silly where the opening credits, all of the O's in the words are hexagons. They're B-shaped, and it's silly. So this movie is silly, but it's a Jason Statham movie. If you're going into this movie expecting high class, high caliber, engaging storytelling, this is not the movie for you. If you're going in this to watch Jason Statham wreck a bunch of dudes and then just disappear into the ether like he's just, he's the force of good, just coming in to, clean the slate and get rid of all the greed and corruption, then pick this movie out. So because of that, I'm going to give The Beekeeper a C-. So until next time, guys.